Hello, everybody. Today we are going to be moving on to our next lesson, which is going to be on literature. And the topic is going to be Pride and Prejudice. And this is the first slide that's going to be talking about the author's background. So here we have a picture of Jane Austen. She was alive from 1775 through 1817. She was one of the most recognized English female writers that obtained most recognition for her novels after her death because she was a woman writer. Back in the day, women writers were not as successful as men writers because of their gender, and this became a difficult situation for female writers. And she was one of the female writers during that time that actually became famous. I don't want to say right away, but it did take her time to get her fame to rise. And she also had a strong masculine characteristics to her because she would always try to defend women because of the way men treated them. They did not have a lot of rights. She was considered as a pre-feminist as well because her novels mostly had to do with women and how they overcame the challenges that men put them through just because of their gender. I would like you guys to go ahead and go on the next slide where there's going to be an activity. So let's go ahead and go to that slide together. Alright, this is the quick activity time slide. You can go ahead and pause the video and take as long as you want to answer these questions, which is what year was Jane Austen born and what era? And why do you think Jane Austen is considered a pre-feminist? Go ahead and get a pen, a pencil, piece of paper, or you can go ahead and type it in your computer and notes, Word document, and make sure you bring it tomorrow for class because we are going to be reviewing these questions according to the novel's reading progression that we are going to be having. So go ahead and take your time, pause the video, and then once you're done, make sure you go back to this video because on the next slide there's going to be more content on the literature lesson. The next topic we're going to be talking about is time. Pride and Prejudice was published on 1813 by Jane Austen. This book was written during the Georgian era. It was a period of time when artists were starting to talk about romance, love situations, love problems, and it was during a industrial revolution period where factories were starting to develop and all that work environment that people were not treated well. They were treated like animals. They were slowly starting to head towards that direction. And also, the social classes were getting more recognition than before. So, if you were poor, you would be noticed. If you were middle class, you would be noticed. If you were upper class, you would get recognized. So, all the classes were started to get distinguished during this era. And also, women, as I mentioned before, did not have the equivalent rights as men. They were fighting for their rights. They didn't really want to outspeak to men because the men might put them back in their place. It was just a time of gender rights, and it affected women because primarily they were not liberated as much as men. In the work area, writing area, men always came first, and women would always be shadows to the men. Moving on to the next slide. In this slide, we are going to be talking about the novel's atmosphere. So, in this novel, the characters are tied between love, money, and pride. As you get into the book, you're going to be finding out why I have put these three main things in this slide. And then also, as I mentioned before in the previous two slides, women were not seen as equal as men. They were judged. They lived in a society where men were the rulers. They were always put down, and they were always trying to liberate themselves from the men's world, if you may say. And in this novel, there is also a pressure for women to get married to wealthy men so they can have a sustainable life, comfortable life. They wouldn't have to fear of not having any money to live off. So getting married was one of the main things that prioritized in this novel, that women were getting pushed to get married. But of course, as you read, there's going to be a twist to this point that I'm pointing out right now. And there's also a sense of early feminism. As the reading progresses, you're going to know why feminism was becoming important during this era and how Jane Austen herself was pre-feminist in her own book and her own work and novels, and it represented them as you keep reading the novel. And lastly, marrying to get financial benefits is also viewed, but with the ignorance of true love's intentions. So they're trying to get married for money, but the main thing is that love is going to be powerful in this novel. Instead of just money situations, you're going to see the characters evolve as the story progresses, and how money is not going to be important because at the end of the day, love is what matters. Moving on to the next. In this slide, we're going to be talking about themes. Mentioned before, money is not always the answer to everything. Sometimes it is good to let go of one's pride because pride could blind you and you're not going to see the person for who they really are. And then once overcome, you're going to see that person is going to be genuine towards you. And love can be tough, but if both partners fight for it, it becomes a charming experience. Once you get to listen to one another, you're going to realize that this person is worth it, that love does matter with this person, and you do want a future with this person, and money is not going to be an issue anymore. And then old traditions are replaced with new ideas, becoming new traditions. So the old tradition is that the mother is going to want to pressure the daughters to get married to become financially stable, just like she did with her own husband. But of course, the daughters, as you keep reading, are going to twist this around and they are going to want to be independent women that want to have a voice of their own. Alright, now that we have discussed the last topic of the literature lesson, which is themes, we are going to be moving on together onto the activity last page. Alright, for this quick activity time, I would like you to continue writing on your sheet of paper or your online document and answer the following question, which is what were some of the themes mentioned in the previous slide that will appear as the novel reading progresses. So go ahead and pause this video and take your time in answering this question. Once you are done, we are going to be moving on to our writing lesson, so make sure you continue playing the video. Also, this question is going to also be discussed with the following question that you just answered on this PowerPoint, so make sure you come prepared with your sheet of paper because we will be discussing this question as a topic in class.